Hello and welcome back to Modern Driver 555. I promised you guys this was not a BMW only channel, and here is something that I am very familiar with, and this is a 2018. It is a few years old, but it is the Macan Turbo with performance package. I have spent a lot of time in these vehicles, everything from the Cayennes to when the Macans came out in 2015. And guys, let me tell you, this is a very, very impressive package with the Porsche emblem. Now, I know a lot of you purists might not think that a sport utility or sport activity vehicle should have that Porsche badge, but let me tell you, daily driving, taking out on the track, it's very, very impressive. This thing sports a 3.6 liter V6 twin turbo with 440 horsepower. It is all-wheel drive. It's very, very impressive. Posts some really, really good 0 to 60 times, and what we're gonna do is take a look at it, drive it out on the streets, and let you guys see what this thing will get on our score. Remember, on our scoring, nothing will ever be a 555, but let's see what this one gets. Porsche Macan Turbo with performance package. All right, so the Porsche Macan started at about $70,000 or so. In order to get the performance package, which this one has, that added another extra 40 horsepower and brought it from 400 to 440 horsepower. But now you're looking at about an $88,000 price point. This vehicle, the way it sits with the carbon package, the headlights and everything else, you're looking at about $130,000. I believe that was what this vehicle cost when it was new in 2018. And now here it is 2022. We're just starting 2022, and you can find these for about $65,000. So as far as retention on dollars, buying one of these secondhand, as long as it was babied, which a lot of these I'm sure they were because maybe ladies drove them, I don't know, but if you could find one in great condition, it's a lot of bang for the buck. Find 440 horsepower with all-wheel drive with that Porsche logo, and you're gonna be hard-pressed to do that. Now, from the side profile, from the nose till about right here, just screams Porsche. It just has that look. With the big headlights, you just know it's Porsche. As you start to work your way around, you've got this nice sloping roof line. This is going to start getting a little cramped in the back seat because of this flow. I never was really huge on the back, but like from here back, this has that classic Porsche line, other than the fact that it's no longer a car, but it's a sport utility vehicle. I do like the shadow line here with the carbon fiber. It looks great. The mirrors are a little big by today's standards, but you had the integrated turn signal lamps up on the front, on the side. It's just a really, really clean look, and it is a smaller sport utility vehicle. This is not something you would want to put 4 guys into with a lot of luggage because you're just not going to have the space. But for daily driving, I think this is going to be really, really good. Very comfortable for 2 people, but you could add a couple in the back if you had to. Now, getting inside of the vehicle, the very first thing you're going to notice is this thing is busy. Guys, look at all of these controls and buttons here in the center console. There's a lot going on, but if you know what each one of them is, I actually like physical buttons. I don't like to go into a dash and start working on touch panels to do things. So having these buttons, it's kind of like flying an airplane. You just kind of know where all of those buttons are. The roof liner and all of your bolsters have the Alcantara leather. I've always liked that touch, whether it was in any premium vehicle. This was just a nice touch. This one has a full panoramic sunroof that goes all the way to the rear. You can close it. You also have a sunshade, and all of that's operated here within the center. This has a very sporty yet classy appeal to it. You've got the double stitch dashboard here. It just works. The mixture of the leather, the carbon fiber, it just works. I love it. Like I said, this has been an all-time favorite of mine. As far as the sound system, this does have the upgraded Burmeister sound system, and it is incredibly potent if you're one that really likes to blast his music loud. So this has every option available, everything from the heated and ventilated seats to the heated steering wheel. It's all here. When you close the doors, it is a solid sound. You know that the quality's there. Guys, I don't know if you can see this in the camera, but just clean. There's not much more I can say about it. It's one of those that you could be tooling around very quickly on a track, but at the same time, it has all the styling and elegance that you would look for out of a premium vehicle. As far as the instrument cluster, it has that classic clean analog look. And it's a good mixture because you have one center RPM. That's what you're worried about as a driver, right? Is the RPMs, not really looking at the speedometer. And then off to the right, you have a digital display. It's really clean. Personally, I've never cared for an analog clock in a vehicle. Now this one, you have the stopwatch function and everything. But when you're looking at modern and then you're throwing this analog clock, I see how it plays in with the analog display here. But I've just never liked that. That's just personal preference. A lot of these reviews that I'm going to be doing, they have a lot of subjectivity to them on what I feel. That might be different than you. The steering wheel is clean. The brushed aluminum on the steering wheel is clean. The controls, all of it works really well. The red is a beautiful color. It's very, very high quality leather, and this even has the old CD in it. You're starting to see less modern vehicles with CD players in them, but it did have the SD card slots 1 and 2 for that integration where we started seeing that change. One of the things you'll notice is there's 6 controls for these seats themselves, and that controls everything from the side bolsters, so you really feel like you're in a race style seat. So you can really have it squeeze in so that you're not being shifted laterally left and right in the corners. You can adjust the seat so that you can get support underneath the thighs. The head restraints, I mean, you have adjustability here to go up, down. You can go in and out, and that's what I look for in a seat, unlike that iX that we reviewed that was just kind of there. I don't want to compare this to the iX. This is not the same vehicle at all, but one of the biggest things you'll notice when you step into this is just the quality of the leather. It has that fit and appeal that you really don't see in many other vehicles. All right, now getting in the back, I already know this is going to be tight. It's going to be really tight. Remember, I'm not that large, about 5'10", and my knees are already in the back of this seat. Now this will move forward slightly once I start the vehicle, but even my head, I've got about 1 inch here. So that's something that I'm not going to be able to adjust. I do feel a little cramped back here. Yeah, no doubt about it. This is something for maybe a baby seat or some small friends on a short drive. I do have climate control here in the center with 2 USBs. In the center here, I do have 2 cup holders with an armrest. But once again, even in the back seat with these heated seats, we're talking about a lot of comfort. I can just feel the cushioning in the seats itself. You do have a 40-20-40 split in the rear. You can reach here without laying the armrest down, and you do have a full pass-through. That's always really nice and a great addition to this. We do have grab handles, which are nice, as well as lighting. So not much room in the back, but we kind of expected that. I'm also, and I've mentioned this before, I'm not a big fan of bungees like this because over the years, these will start to sag. Working our way to the back, we're going to talk about this cargo area. Small details mean a lot to me, and you can see how clean this back end is. I don't have a grab handle. I don't have a nasty button here. They've integrated the release for the rear hatch right here into the rear wiper. I love that. Little details matter. It just cleans the whole vehicle up. In the back, you do actually have a ton of storage. It's a lot larger. It's almost like they sacrificed the rear seat cabin area to give you more cargo space, and I am good with that. In the back here, we do have some buttons, and that will control the height of the vehicle. This does have air suspension in it, believe it or not. You do have a 12-volt power outlet. You do have your tethers for your child safety seats. You do have some cargo straps in here as well. I do like the storage straps here. It does have the privacy screen integrated into it. Of course, these remove like most of them where you just untether it, and then you can lock or just lower from the back. So it is really nice. Can't wait to drive this thing. So this does have the 7-speed PDK transmission, the Doppelkupplung. Some people call it dual clutch, and that's exactly what it is. Basically, it's already engaging the next gear. So right now, if I'm in 7th gear, if I start to gear it down, it's going to go into that 6th gear, and it is fast. It's extremely fast. It's faster than you're going to be able to do it with a manual, which is not optional in this vehicle. Right now, I'm just driving along in comfort mode. The speed is about 60 miles an hour, and it's very plush. It's like what you would expect out of a sport utility. It doesn't feel like a sports car. Now, in the middle here, I can go into sport mode. Sport mode's going to, you heard it drop down a gear. It's going to lower the suspension a little bit, and then we have Sport Plus. Now it dropped into fourth automatically. It's ready. It's in that gear ready to do some business. It's just so clean. We are obeying all speed limits. It's a spirited road up in the mountains. Just razor sharp handling, even for a sport utility. One of the things I don't like is when they try to give you more room on the passenger area. I like to brace with my left knee up against the door bolster, and I'm not able to do that because it is so open. So there are certain things you sacrifice for, because when you're driving really hard and you've got your left foot on that dead pedal, when you're cornering to the right really hard, you definitely want to keep that left foot braced up against that bolster there. But guys, the power on this thing is just incredible. It's just smooth delivery. The fit and finish and the detail is just beautiful. There's not many cars that can pull this off. And of course, Porsche, known for it, is just the attention to detail. It all works. I'm impressed with the layout. Like I said, the center is kind of busy, but it's not bad. Half of it is going to be your climate control, and everything's independently controlled for the driver and the passenger. They have their own set of controls for auto and manual. I know that doesn't sound like a big deal, but it is to me. I don't like to reach over and adjust it for my passenger, and I know that you have the sync modes for the climate control, but that's a big thing. They have their own side and I have mine. I'm going to go ahead and do a 0 to 60 time. I am going to use launch control. Wow, that hooks up quick. We're doing 60, and we have a 0 to 60 time of 4.5 seconds. So right where we needed to be. Stability control system was off. I still think we had a little bit of wheel spin on that, so I think we could probably better that by about 0.2 of a second or so. You also want to make sure you're in Sport Plus mode. That's also going to help, but matter of fact, I don't even know if you can get launch control without that. The first thing I got was a yellow warning light on the dash in the left module. On the far right, it showed check tire pressures, and it showed me an exact -5 PSI, and then it quickly went down to -10. So we've actually pulled over on the side of the road here. I don't want to switch the tire out, which I could do. I think it's going to be easier just to plug it. I found where a nail had entered into the tire. So I'm just going to go ahead and plug it, and then we'll resume with the video here shortly. But the tire pressure management system works very well. So 10 minutes later, we had a friend of ours come over with a plug kit. We had some air, and we're back on the road. What was nice is we did not need any type of air pressure gauge. It is so exact on here, we could just literally put it on. It would tell you how many pounds of pressure you were low, and then back in business. So one of the things of launch control, a lot of people are concerned about how much wear that puts on the clutches. So what I've been told is that the Macan S doing the launches, they've been tested out to about 3,000 pulls. It is hard. You can definitely tell it puts you back in the seat, but they do it all the time, and I've got on good note that even doing it in some of the Porsche driving schools, that you're not seeing any transmissions grenade or anything like that. So very solid system, man. This thing's got one heck of a launch, and I'm pretty darn impressed with it. So guys, we're cruising along at 62 miles an hour. It's nice and quiet in the cabin. There's not a lot of wind noise. I am going to press the exhaust button here. Maybe you can hear the droning. Here we go. In 3, 2, 1. You'll get a deep rumbling noise from the exhaust. It's got a great tone to it. It will get aggravating on a long drive. So on a long drive, I would turn that off, but it's nice to have it if you wanted to have that. It's a little pretentious, I think, but it does give you that that sound. This also has the steering control where basically it will keep you still have to keep your hands on the wheel. It's not going to auto drive, but it's got the lane departure warning. It does have all the safety systems. You have the auto start stop. It does have an off-road feature with that air ride suspension. It's going to help adjust the height of the vehicle. You have suspension control here. You have lowering of the vehicle, which I can press that, and now we're going to go into that lower level, less of a plush ride. So if you've never had an opportunity to drive a Porsche or a Porsche, however you'd like to call it, it is truly a pleasure. It is truly a driver's car. There's no doubt about it. It's not overbearing like a race car. This is a very comfortable ride. This is one of those I could drive, 1,000 miles in a day and not feel really tired. One of the biggest things that's a standout to me is the quality of the leather, the support of the seats, just the ergonomics of it. Everything's laid out perfectly. The steering is very responsive without being too twitchy. We are getting a lot of side winds today, and it's not really pushing the vehicle around a lot. I know it's not a manly vehicle. It's not like you're driving a pickup truck, but it's very refined. The performance is there. You could actually have a good day out on the track with it. This does have the 20-inch tires. It originally came with 21 inchers, but the owner didn't want that bouncy ride with the stiffer sidewall, so he opted for the 20-inch wheels, which I think was a good option. He's not someone that tracks these vehicles. Like I said, this vehicle only has 13,000 miles, and he's had it for 3 years. He special ordered it. It took him about 5 months to get this vehicle. As far as the scoring system, when it comes to performance and technology, the performance for this vehicle, if you figure all other vehicles being 3s as an average, I am going to give it a 5, but that's not going to be the first number. That first number is probably going to be a 5 on the performance for acceleration, for braking. And when it comes down to technology, I've got instant response on the touch screen. So the technology is there, very easy to pair up your Bluetooth, get all of your songs in there. So I'm going to give it a 5 on the first number. On the second number, that is going to be comfort, that's going to be spaciousness, that's going to be practicality, and this really does check all the boxes. It really does. There's really nothing within the vehicle that's going to give it a lower score than a 5. But now here's the ticker. The third number is going to be a combination of reliability, value, and retention. This is not a value-minded car. As tested, this car was almost $130,000. So if 3 is an average, I'm going to have to give this vehicle a 2 when it comes to value. Value retention, it's going to be a 1. And when it comes to durability, this car has been to the shop multiple times for different things. I'm not going to give all the details, but no motor or major work, just little small things, things with the headlights, things with, a little bit of an oil leak here or there. So I'm going to give this car a rating of a 551, which is going to be one of the highest because I do hold the Porsche Macan, whether it's the new GTS or this one here, which is the turbo. I do hold them in high regard. It doesn't have a ton of room, but they did give you a ton of storage space. As far as comfort for 4 people, once again, it drops into that low number of that 1. So based on my observations, this is a solid 551. It won't go any higher than that, and that third number is always going to be low. Now, if they could have had this car for $5,000 new, and it was never in the shop, and it was comfortable, to have everybody in there, you'd probably see a higher score of that 554 or 555, but that's not going to happen. I love that sound. It's just so good. It's refined. I'm hoping you guys can really hear that exhaust note. This thing is just so planted in the corners. Feels very balanced, not getting any indicators of understeer where it's pushing through the corners excessively. Right now I'm getting a lot of body roll. That's one thing I'm going to have to say about it. So with the suspension, I'm going to put us in Sport Plus. That should stiffen us up. It should start lowering the vehicle. And I can definitely tell I'm getting less body roll in the corners. It's definitely flatter, but you can still tell you're dealing with 4,500 pounds. So I remember when the owner picked this car up in 2018. I remember when he took delivery of it, and I was able to get in it and drive it, and I was impressed with it then. I'm more so impressed with it now just because of how much things have changed, but this has not, and it's just an unbelievable vehicle. Hope you enjoyed that afternoon ride along in the Porsche Macan Turbo. This is still one of my all-time favorites, and I believe that 551 score is going to hold strong for quite a while. Picking up one of these secondhand is actually great, but always be aware you never want to have a German car out of warranty. Stay tuned until the next time on Modern Driver 555.